bright and early in the morning over here on a Sunday, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through one basic strategy of playing XBall. Okay, now there's a million different strategies. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. I'm just going to teach you my way of doing it, and in my opinion, my way of doing it, you will be able to compete at the Division III level if you maybe take this. If your team doesn't have a strategy, this is a great place to start. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is that back here, as you take a look at the XBall field, okay, the great big X that's in the middle blocks out about 90% of the shot if you're in the middle of the field, okay? XBall was designed as a spectator sport, meaning that the X in the middle is designed to push players out to the tape. This is why if you're kind of in the middle areas here, you don't really have any shots cross field because the X is blocking it out. With the sideline coaching and everything like that, XBall is designed to be a sideline game, okay? In PPL, the MPPL style, you can push up the middle and stuff like that. XBall, it is a tape fill game, a sideline game, and most of the games are going to be won or lost at the tapes. Now, one of the basic strategies that I have when you play XBall is what I like to call the tape fill system, okay? The tape fill system means that the team is constantly trying to push up the tape, either one side or the other. There's not really any front player or back player or mid player. Everybody becomes a front player because it's everybody's job to push up the tape. Now, if you take just a few steps back. Now, what we're going to do here is we're just going to pretend that this is just a basic 5-man breakout here, okay? Just a basic 5-man breakout. And what we're going to do here is, let's say most teams that are going to break out like this, you're going to have your back player back here. These are your two mid players. Take about 2 steps forward. Okay, and then the front players would take maybe about 4 steps forward. Okay, for most teams, this is just a traditional XBall breakout. Okay, you got the back player, your 2 mid players, and your 2 front players. But what happens is most people that start out when they start playing XBall, what happens is you know, you start losing bodies off the break. It's just a natural thing of XBall. You are going to lose bodies. Most games you are not going to win the games with 5 people on the field. You're going to usually win the games with maybe 1 or 2. So what happens is let's say, for instance, we have all 5 of our players make it to the bunker, and then we lose a body. So let's say, for instance, Blake, you're out. So Blake is out. Now what's going to happen is that someone needs to fill the void. So what's going to happen is Larry's going to move over, and then I'm going to go ahead and take Larry's spot right here, okay? Now let's say, for instance, now you come over here on this side. The front player gets taken out, so you step off the field. And then Willie goes up and now continues to push the tape, okay? Then you come back over here, and let's say, for instance, now Larry gets taken out. Now I move up and start to push the tape, okay? Now I can start moving up and moving up and moving up as Willie on the other side starts moving up. And let's say, for instance, now I get out. Okay, that leaves that 1 player left on the field. But 1 player on the tape is more important than 4 or 5 people in the middle of the field. If we can come back up here again, guys. That 1 player on the tape pushing up has more shots than any players that are in the middle of the field. So that's why it's very important to do the tape fill. We're going to do this again so you kind of understand what happens. Okay, so we line up again. So we got 5 people here. We do a basic breakout. Okay, basic breakout. Okay, and let's say, for instance, on this one, the front player on the right side gets taken out. Immediately, Willie fills the spot, and then I go over and fill in where Willie was at. And let's say, for instance, in this case, I'm out. Okay, so now I'm out. Now Willie knows that his job is to continue trying to push up the field. And you look over here on this side, as he's trying to push up the field, Blake is trying to push up the field. Larry's trying to push up the field, and that way you're constantly filling the tape, constantly pushing up the tapes instead of sitting in the middle of the field. By getting to the tape, you're going to be able to, as you look over here on the XBall field, you're going to be able to shoot around the X and get those angle shots that you need to get. If you're sitting over here in this little compartment here, the very back of the field, these little bunkers that are kind of on the inside here, you can't shoot across the field and take anybody out. But if you're up at the 40 on the tape, you can look and shoot the whole left side or the right-hand side of the field. All right. Okay, now we showed you how to do it out there on the open field. Okay, now XBall generally is set up almost exactly the same regardless of where you go. Okay, you got a big X in the middle, Doritos on one side, and the snake on the other side. Okay, so how they position the bunkers or how we do this breakout is kind of irrelevant. It's the same setup. They just kind of move the bunkers around, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same setup. You got Dorito on one side, snake on the other, X in the middle. Now what we're going to do is a basic 5-man breakout, but what we're going to do is we're going to add some bunkers in it so you can see how we do the tape fill. Now what we're going to do is, let's say the game starts, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and the players break out to their bunkers. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go over here and take a look at the Doritos side. Okay, now let's just pretend that I'm still back there in back center. Okay, now if over here, where Mac is at, and then that's Blake that's right there, if I'm over here in back center, and then Mac gets taken out off the break, what I have to do is as a back center player, the minute that I see Mac taken out off the break, I have to go and fill his spot. So now I come over here, and now I'm Blake's new back guy. Now as Blake starts to move up the field, he moves up into the Dorito. I come over here and fill in behind him. Okay? And now we're working together. Now let's say, for instance, Blake moves up again up to the X. So Blake moves up to the X. I move up to the Dorito. Okay, and let's say, for instance, right now, Blake gets taken out. Now that Blake is taken out, now I move up and fill his spot. Now I can fill in either this Dorito or this Dorito. That's kind of irrelevant. But on this side of the field, when we start losing bodies, we need to, as a back player, you have to start filling in all those positions. Now what we'll do is we'll go over here to the snake. Larry and Will hiding in the snake. Okay. Now what you're going to see here is what's going to happen is if let's say, for instance, as we're playing, Willie's over there in the snake, and let's say when Willie gets taken out from the snake, Larry's going to immediately go and fill. Now if I'm over here in back center, what I have to do is I have to recognize that one player was taken out on that side, and now I go over here and fill in where Larry was at. Okay, now Larry knows that I'm behind him. Now Larry moves up to the next bunker. Okay, and I come over here and fill in behind Larry. Okay, and if we could just take a second and look, from right here, as you can see, this X blocks out a ton of shots that are out there on the field, okay? You can't really hit much of anything from this part of the field because of the X being out there in the middle. But let's go up there and take a look and see where Larry is at. You can see, once you get to about right here, and if we even back up a little bit, once you get to about right here, you can really start to see how the field starts opening up. You can start seeing around the bunkers. You can picture hitting people in the packs from right here. Let's move up over here to S2. Or even right up here to S3. You can now start to see the angles that you're going to have on people throughout the field. Look at that X right there. Shoot anybody that's on that side of the X. Look at the can. Shoot anybody on that side of the can. Even the Dorito back there. Very easy shots. This is why when you play XBall, you have to move up the field on the tapes. There are no shots in the middle of the field. The only shots are over here, up here at about the 30 and the 40-yard line. So it's so important to continue to keep pushing up the field on either the Dorito side or the snake side, because once you get to here, this is where you can start taking out 2 to 3 people at a time. So that is how tape fill works. So